Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Welcome to the beautiful Hancock Adams Common here. During a festive time of the year in Quincy, as we all know, we kick off right after Thanksgiving, lighting up the city. Then we have the parade, and we are a wonderful, diverse community. And each year, we invite Rabbi Benjamin to come over and lead us in a Hanukkah celebration. And we're grateful for his interest and his willingness to be part of this and actually lead this. I appreciate his friendship over the years. Quincy at one time had a synagogue in Quincy Point, temple down Hancock Street and one on Adams Street. And we no longer physically have those structures, but we have a solid Jewish community here in Quincy, and we want to honor that tonight. Thank you, Rabbi Benjamin, for being with us. The floor is yours.
And not just tonight. The mayor always invites me in to the same spot at the high holidays to blow the shofar to announce the new year. And that's very meaningful for me and I think for the people in the Jewish community of this town, of this city. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Hanukkah and also share some of the things that I have on the table here. And thank you, Mayor, for inviting me again and for this opportunity. So, of course, we have dreidels for the kids. You can decide if you're a kid to take a dreidel. We've got chocolate gelt, and I have one that is silver, and that's no dairy, no nuts, in case that's for you. A little silver cover, and then I have, for the kids who are here, again, you can decide two for everyone who wants to take any chocolate gelt. I have a little, next to the gelt, a little book about ancient coins. I'm going to talk about coins a little bit. I also brought with me a replica of an ancient oil lamp that's right here on the table to show how lamps in ancient times were made out of clay. It was dried. It was, as even clay today, they put in a kiln. And this works. If you put oil in there and the wick soaks up the oil, that'll work. You can take a look at that. And also, I brought some really fancy candles. So if you want to go home and use it as the helper candle, the shamash for your own Hanukkah menorah, you're welcome to take one home, and they're really quite pretty. So we're also going to sing some songs tonight, but I wanted to start off with just a little bit of background about Hanukkah, because a lot of times people forget how this holiday came to be. And we have to go back in history, believe it or not, to Alexander the Great, who in 332 BCE, before the Common Era, BCE, he and his forces came to that section of the world called the Middle East. That's what we call that today. And specifically, he came to the land of Judea as he was leading his forces there. And Alexander the Great was tremendously respectful of local cultures, traditions, and religions. He, as long as you accepted his political authority, he said, pray as you want to pray. And that relationship that he had specifically also with the Jewish people living in the land of Judea was so powerful. To this day, it is a perfectly beautiful Hebrew name to call your child Alexander. It's not a truly Hebrew name, but because of the kind of person that he was, he's still honored in that way by some people. But that was not always going to be the case. In 167, a different Greek, this one not from Rome, this man from Assyria, called the Assyrian Greeks, his name was Antiochus. And Antiochus, when he took leadership, he was Antiochus IV, he added the name Epiphanes, Antiochus Epiphanes, to who he was, because Epiphanes means God manifest. And that's what he saw himself as, a god. He had coins, of course, minted, that showed him. I have a book that shows that coin and an article if you want to take a look. It shows his face, and on the back Antiochus Epiphanes, God manifest. Now, this Syrian Greek was just convinced that the only way to have a strong kingdom is if everybody was the same. And so he sought to Hellenize all of the people under his realm. And so to achieve that, he outlawed the practice of Judaism in all the land of Judea. And his goal, as I said, was to forcibly Hellenize his population. And so among the practices, the Jewish practices that he outlawed, what's a biggie? What's a real biggie?
Circumcision.
Yes, he outlawed Brit Milah. He outlawed circumcision. What else? He outlawed the study of Torah. He outlawed, this is all death penalty stuff, he outlawed keeping kosher. Now it's interesting to note that the Maccabean revolt against all of these oppressive decrees, that this revolt included an attack by his forces on a Shabbat. And that's the Jewish day of rest. And because it was Jewish practice not to fight on Shabbat, he was able to slaughter a lot of people. So Judah Maccabee, one of the great leaders of this revolt, made a decree himself that in order to preserve life, we are now permitted, it was the first time ever, we're permitted to fight back and to protect ourselves on Shabbat. And this, by the way, this decision was codified later by the rabbis in Jewish law. Now, he wasn't done, this Antiochus Epiphanes. By the way, the Jews had a nickname for him, Antiochus Epimanes, which means the madman. I thought it was pretty clever. Anyway, he wasn't done. In the Holy Temple in Jerusalem, he placed a statue of Zeus. That's idol worship. Again, he wasn't done. He sacrificed on the altar a pig. That did not go over either. And he stole the 7-branched golden menorah along with silver and gold from the temple treasury. Because he was engaged with a lot of wars. So he plundered the temple treasury in order to finance his wars. So he really had a big revolt on his hand. You might say Jews can be revolting, but in this case, he deserved it. So the victory, the ultimate victory over the Assyrian Greeks happened in the month of Kislev, which is the month we're in right now. And it was on the 25th of Kislev that the temple, suddenly the Jewish people had access again to it, and it had been desecrated, so they needed to clean it up. And that's where we get the story of the oil that lasted 8 days. But let's think about this. The rabbis talk about this oil that it lasted 8 days, and the miracle was it lasted 8 days. But wait a minute. If it's one cruse of oil, it's no miracle for one cruse of oil to last 1 day. So what's the real miracle then? How many days? 7. It's no miracle 8 days. And this is where the story, we know that it's just a story. Because what happened is that these Maccabees, within just 2 generations, the grandsons of Mattathias became very corrupt. They were each vying for power. And as a matter of fact, one brother killed another brother, fratricide. And these Maccabees became so vile in the eyes of the population, especially the rabbis at the time. They took such advantage. They were just as bad as any other ruler could possibly be, that the rabbis said, we have to shift our focus away from this corruption of this family, and let's focus instead on a new story, the story of the miracle and the oil and the lamp. And that's what can happen. Leaders can become corrupt. And in this case, this is how they responded. They said, we're going to change the story. We're going to change the focus. We're going to change the emphasis. So this is what I just wanted to share about how Hanukkah, which means dedication, by the way, is about fighting those who are not permitting you to be who you are, to practice your religion as you wish to without feeling any sense of fear or oppression. And by the way, when it comes to the lighting of the Hanukkah menorah, this 8-day holiday, I mentioned that it happened this month is Kislev. Just 2 months ago, there was a big 8-day holiday called Sukkot. But in that time, 2 months before they won and got access to the temple again, 2 months before, they couldn't celebrate that holiday. They didn't have the temple. They couldn't have the sacrifices. So when they finally got access to the temple, the holiday of Sukkot, one of the most joyous festivals of the Hebrew Bible, a pilgrimage festival, they said, let's do the best we can. Let's do a Sukkot redo, and we'll call it Hanukkah. So really, Hanukkah was this after-the-fact celebration of something that they couldn't observe because they were involved in a war. So that's where we get the 8 days from. And it makes perfect sense. Sometimes in life, you just have to do the best you can. And by the way, when it comes to lighting itself, there was a big debate between two famous rabbis, Hillel and Shammai. Because you imagine a cruse of oil, you put it into a container and you light it, oil burns down from a lot to a little. And so Shammai said, logically then, we should light all 8 candles on the first day, and the second day 7, and then 6, and then 5. Because that's what oil does, it burns down. Shammai was very logical. But Hillel was very emotional. Hillel said, nobody wants to see light diminish. We all want to see light increase. And so let's start with 1, and then 2, and then 3, so that by the 8th day, we have all 8 candles lit, plus the helper candle that does the lighting. And guess who won out? Hillel. Yes, Shammai, logically you're correct, but life is also emotional. And Hillel, he's the one who we follow. So when it just does come, before we sing some songs, it does come to this idea of being safe and free. I just want to share with you an excerpt of a letter that a pretty important president, George Washington, wrote to the Jewish community in Newport, Rhode Island. Here's just an excerpt. Gentlemen, he writes, the citizens of the United States of America have a right to applaud themselves for having given to mankind examples of an enlarged and liberal policy, a policy worthy of imitation. All possess alike liberty of conscience and immunities of citizenship. It is now no more that toleration is spoken of, as if it was by the indulgence of one class of people that another enjoyed the exercise of their inherent natural rights. For happily the government of the United States, which gives to bigotry no sanction, to persecution no assistance, requires only that they who live under its protection should demean themselves as good citizens, in giving it on all occasions their effectual support. It would be inconsistent with the frankness of my character, Washington writes, not to avow that I am pleased with your favorable opinion of my administration and fervent wishes for my felicity. May the children of the stock of Abraham who dwell in this land continue to merit and enjoy the goodwill of the other inhabitants, while everyone shall sit in safety under his own vine and fig tree, and there shall be none to make him afraid. May the Father of all mercies scatter light and not darkness in our paths, and make us all in our several vocations useful here and in this and in his own due time and way, everlastingly happy. George Washington. Beautiful sentiment that's still so important today and every day. Let's sing some Hanukkah songs. We're going to start with the first song at the bottom of the first page. It's stapled at the top right. That's a very Jewish thing to do. We go right to left. Ma'ud Sor, it's number 2. We'll sing first in Hebrew and then the English underneath. Ma'od Sor Yeshuati Lechana Elishabeach Tikon Beit Tefilati Visham Toda Nizabeach Lietachin Matbeach Mitzor HaMinabeach Azek Morbet Shir Mizmor Chanukat HaMizbeach Azek Morbet Shir Mizmor Chanukat HaMizbeach. Rock of ages, let our song praise your saving power. You amidst the raging foe were our sheltering tower. Furious they assail us, but your arm availed us, and your word broke their sword when our own strength failed us, and your word broke their sword when our own strength failed us. So Hanukkah is the rededication of the temple, and to this day, again, when a Jewish person moves into their home, they put a mezuzah on the right side door as you're entering the house, and that's called Chanukat Habayit, the dedication of the house. That's where you'll see it. Let's go to number 3. It's on the next inside of the next page. Oh, sorry. Let's go to number 4, right underneath that. Mi yimalel vurot Yisrael otan mi yimneh Hein bechodor yakum hagibor goel ha'am. It repeats. Mi yimalel gvurot Yisrael otan mi yimneh Hein bechodor yakum hagibor goel ha'am. Shma bayamim hahem bazman hazeh Maccabi Moshiach ufodeh Uvyomenu kolam Yisrael Yitached yakum veyigael. To the English, who can retell the things that befell us? Who can count them? In every age a hero or a sage came to our aid. Hark! In days of yore in Israel's ancient land, a brave Maccabeus led the faithful band. And now all Israel must as one unite, redeem itself through good deeds and delight. Now, how can we not sing a few dreidel songs? Number 5. Sevivon, Sov, 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 Chanukah, Hu Chatov, Chanukah, Hu Chatov, Sevivon, Sov, 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 Chag Simcha Hu La'am, Nes Gadol Haya Sham, Nes Gadol Haya Sham, Chag Simcha Hu La'am, Sevivon, turn and turn, while the lovely candles burn. What a wondrous holiday, while we sing and dance and play. tell the story everywhere. A great miracle happened there. It's a festival of lights for 8 days and 8 nights. The dreidel, 4 Hebrew letters that stand for Nes Gadol Hayasham Nun Gimel He Shin. A great miracle happened there. Which way's east? Which way's east, Mayor?
Wait, east?
East. A great miracle happened there, meaning in the land of Israel. But in Israel, in the land of Israel, the dreidel says Nes Gadol Haya Po. Nun Gimel Hey Po. It happened here. So, I have a little dreidel, number 6. I have a little dreidel, I made it out of clay. And when it's dry and ready, then dreidel I shall play. Oh, dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay. And when it's dry and ready, then dreidel I shall play. It has a lovely body with legs so short and thin. And when it gets all tired, it drops and then I win. Oh, dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay. Oh, dreidel, 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 dreidel I shall play. My dreidel's always playful, it loves to dance and spin. A happy game of dreidel, come play now, let's begin. Our final song, and by the way, you're welcome to take these home if you want, for yourselves, for your own families. If not, happy to take them back to use them again another year. So, number 7 will be our last song this evening to share this lovely celebration of Hanukkah. Hanukkah, Hanukkah, Chag Yafet Kol Kach, Or Sachivi Misaviv, Gili Yeled Rach. Hanukkah, Hanukkah, Sevivon Sof Sof, Sof Sof Sof, Sof Sof Sof, Mana'im Vatov. I just want to make sure you saw my shirt here. Okay, Hanukkah, Hanukkah, happy holiday. Candles bright, cheerful light, while we dance and play. Hanukkah, Hanukkah, dreidels spin and turn. Spin and turn, spin and turn, while the candles burn. Or you could use oil. There are oil Hanukkahot out there. Happy Hanukkah, everybody. If you're a child in one way or another, we've got dreidels for you to take home, 2 gelt for you. And of course, gelt is the traditional gift because, as we saw, when the Greeks had, Syrian Greeks, their coins, the moment the Maccabees had control, they minted their own coins to take away the images that were considered idol worship, and they created their own coins, and I have some pictures of those too in that little book. Hasmonean coins had pomegranates, had cornucopia, had nature themes, and it certainly didn't say that a human being, a Caesar, was a god manifest. So, happy Hanukkah to all, and come take a look at some of the things we put out here today. Thank you. Thank you.